Hello and welcome to the Laramy-K OpticianWorks Training Center, where today we have a very special guest. This is Kevin Count from Count Eyewear out of Chicago. Kevin specializes in making handcrafted frames. So today he's going to take us through the steps of taking this and turning it into this. Kevin, welcome, and thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Really appreciate it. I know it's been on my list of things to do for years now. Please tell us just a little bit about how you ended up doing this kind of thing.
Sure. I knew I wanted to try something different with my opticianry skills and the art of making eyewear. So in February of 2018, I traveled to a tiny town called Moray, France, where I sat with master craftsmen for 10 days, 10-hour days, just learning the craft of making eyewear. In Moray, there's still some companies, some of the big name companies, Lamy, Morel, all still sit in this tiny little town which is the real birthplace of eyewear as we know today. And so I went through this course. They only take just a handful of students, about 6 or 7 students per class.
Nice. There
are 3 craftsmen, master craftsmen with you. And you simply learn the craft. You build frames over and over again. And at the end of that, I received my certificate.
As always here in the training center, when I'm not an expert at something, well, we go out and find one. And I think you'll certainly agree that we found the right man for the job today. Now, before leaving Chicago, Kevin had given me a little bit of homework. My homework was as follows. 1, take a picture of your client head on. Think mugshot. Well, there's mine. I'm going to be the client in this case. 2, measure the client PD. Now, you are all very well aware of my rather narrow PD of 58. Number 3, print the picture, which I did. This is using preview on an iMac and just simply hitting print without changing anything. Now, that ended up with a PD of 40. Randomly, I tried 43%. I ended up at 60. 41% gave me 56. And finally, 42% gave me a PD of 58. Now, number 5 says, place a piece of tracing paper over the corrected printed photo of the client. That would be me. Now, I had this light box sitting around. This should help a little bit with this. You're an optician. I'm sure you can figure out something that would work. All right, my homework is done. Now Kevin is here. I'm going to go ahead and let him walk me through these last couple of steps. So draw a horizontal line through the lower part of my pupil. It looks about right there.
Yep.
All right. Good. Let's do that. That's good. And down the center line of my nose. And to me, look at this, looks like my nose is a little crooked there, so I'm going to go for my bridge. And what do you think? All right?
That looks good.
All right. Got a 90-degree mark as well. Next step?
Next step, we have to draw the inside shape of your lens.
All right. And what I'm going to do, what I've decided to do is I love this frame. There are just a couple of things I don't like, and that is that it has a keyhole bridge. So every day when I'm done working out here, I end up with 2 dents on my nose, so I'm going to try to eliminate those. And I think I'd make it maybe about 2 millimeters wider on each side. So lens or frame?
Lens.
Lens, and
you're going to want to dot it up.
Dot it up. All right, so let's do that. And all right, next step.
Now we have to draw your frame.
All right.
If you look at your frame, and not many opticians may not notice this, but the top of your frame is actually slightly thicker than the bottom, and that's because if you don't have it that way, it looks like the whole frame is kind of collapsing on itself. Okay. So the top is typically a 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter thicker. It can be greater than that if the person wanted to exaggerate it. Right. In your case, I'm going to say I guess that's about 2 millimeters. We probably want to measure it. That's probably 2.5.
Okay.
So I like to make marks just as guide points. 2 millimeters at the bottom, 2.5 on top.
All right.
if you notice, your frame is a little thicker here and here.
Yeah.
It's coming down. It's going to have to marry out to this thicker part.
Right.
Again, I like guideposts.
We talked about this quite a bit before we started shooting. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no rule, there's no book. It really is art. We are free-hand drawing this. All right.
This is why we have the pink thing on the other end.
Okay.
You know,
Right. Okay.
So you can always take off your line and try it again.
Yes.
So that's not bad. If you look at your frame, this line up here is actually relatively flat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so there are three curves that we're going to think about when we think about these two lines out here.
Okay.
Okay. There's static, droopy, okay,
right.
and happy.
Okay.
Okay. Droopy goes down. It's a sad frame.
Okay.
Okay. Static goes straight. Happy has a lift. Typically, men's frames and unisex frames are going to be static. They're going to go straight.
All right.
Okay. Women's frames will typically lift up,
A little.
especially off of this bottom line. Okay.
All right.
Men's frames are typically they're static. Occasionally, if it's a larger piece, it's coming all the way out and doesn't have a bump. It'll just come out and drop to a logical curve.
All right.
Okay. So in your case, I'm going to say this line right here. You want it to be a little straighter as it comes out. I
Okay.
know you're trying to make it narrower, but I would do the narrowing off the bottom. Two basic different devices. This is a device to measure the curvature of your bridge, and I also have the negatives of the same.
Okay.
All right. So the way to do this is that you simply look at your client, look at the bridge, kind of look at your template, and I like to start close to where we're going to be. And when I'm sitting with a client and I'm doing this client, I'm going to go, well, what does that feel like to you? Does that feel tight?
No, not at all.
Feels pretty good. So
Yeah,
it's
that
this one
feels
here. So you're H1.
H1. Okay.
Okay.
So-
So we're going to go to our formers. That is H1. So if you're to line this up where you want it with your frame, that's the curve you want.
All right.
Ideally, you would take this, you would line it on your center line,
Yeah.
and you just kind of draw yourself in a little bit. You may have to move it in or out, but yeah.
All right. That looks really good. We got our right. Now we need a left.
Right. So you're not going to sit here and just draw out another left. It's never going to work right.
Right.
So we're going to we want to take the tracing paper, we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to trace our second piece.
Okay.
This might be easy if you start the other way first.
This way.
Yeah, that way you can see your line.
Oh, okay. Yep. There it is.
And
Good.
now we can fold right on it, and then when the time comes, we could fold back.
Okay, I am back. I just ran inside and I made a copy of our trace from the tracing paper to plain old printed paper. And I'm told my next step is that I need to cut this out roughly to the shape that it is as a rectangle.
We already have the center line, so I'm gonna give you one extra step.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you cut your frame in half.
I can see where you're going with this. I'm all for it.
It really doesn't matter which side you use.
Okay.
It's whichever one floats. Where do you want your front?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a pattern you have to worry about,
Right.
but whatever you want to do.
All right.
Okay.
I'm loving that. That's wild. Okay.
That's nice.
All right.
So
So somehow we have to get this
onto there.
onto here.
When we buy them, they're supposed to be 170 millimeters, and this is 170 millimeters.
Yep.
So that half of that is 85.
Okay.
Okay. The width is 70 millimeters, I believe. Just double check that. Sometimes it's a little off.
A little, but yep. And I have a centering ruler.
70?
So.
Half of that's 35,
Yeah.
right? Go to the
Okay.
other end, make that same tick mark. And I think we're going to use your larger scribe, and we're just going to draw that 180. We're going to scribe it right down the middle. Here comes the magic.
Okay.
Rub over your scribe line with the chalk. You don't have to get real messy. You just kind of, there you go. Take your finger and just smear
Oh
it
yeah,
across,
look at
and
that.
you'll notice you get this nice
Oh, look. Oh.
clean line. And now let's your fingers already have the chalk on them, so
Yeah.
you just take some
Oh, you
chalk
probably just-
and then you can smear on your points.
Tick mark.
On your tick
Tick
mark.
mark.
There we go.
Oh, I didn't make
We
one
only
on
did
that
at the
side.
top.
We did indeed.
All right.
All right.
We got your pieces. Here's what we want to do. We want to get these down onto the plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this one piece. We have our 180 line. We're going to establish this moment.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to
Acetone?
I have here a small can of acetone.
All right.
Available, you can get this at your hardware store.
Right.
What you're going to do, we're going to take your acetone, we're going to hold it down. We're going to dribble acetone, and it comes out here pretty quick, so don't worry about it. There's no rules to how much you have to use. Dribble a little bit on there, and then you're going to take your gloved hand, and you're just going to smooth out the holes on this one side. And then we're going to make an adjustment, and we're going to do the other side.
Okay.
We'd established a moment ago that we want this new piece
Yeah, it'd be just a tiny...
to be just a little bit over,
Yep.
somewhere in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just eyeball that, and that's about where we want it. H1, yep,
Yep.
that was good.
Okay.
Hold that down, go into your acetone, and we're good.
All right, we are rolling along. We have taken our shape and we have basically stuck it onto the front of the acetate by using acetone. And now we need to rough cut the shape out of the acetate. In order to do that, we're going to use our Dremel tool here and cut a hole in each eye wire so that we can thread through our fret saw, which is what we use to cut out the acetate. Obviously, Kevin is the master at this, so we're going to let him take over from here. I'll hand that off to you. You let me know when you're at the speed you want.
Yeah, go for it. A little higher than that. That's good. So put the hole anywhere you want. I'm going to do it on the inside edge. Just come up. We're going to decide which side we want to start on. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to start on what is going to end up being the right side.
Okay.
I'm going to thread my blade through the hole. Now comes the fun part. I want you to remember, this is a spiral cut blade.
Okay.
It has teeth 360 degrees around. It only cuts on the pull, okay? But that means it will cut left, right, forward, back, slant, slant. So we want to keep, when we're cutting, our arm and our shoulder is at our side. That's locked,
Okay.
okay? Our thumb is lined up, so we have this nice straight line. We want to keep our blade vertical and straight.
Okay.
And we're going to cut pulling down.
Okay.
We don't walk the blade around. The blade always stays stationary. The acetate moves.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right.
That's where it's going to get dicey.
Whoa, yeah.
Do not
Okay.
cut right on the line.
Okay. No.
Okay? Cut a millimeter and a half inside the line.
All right.
It's easy to take off. It's a bear to put it back on.
I bet.
Okay? It's like being on the edger. Okay, so we have a hole in the center.
hobbit.
We have this Y.
Okay.
Okay? The blade goes in the hole.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
And what we're going to do, we're going to line ourselves up, and then we start cutting. And so remember, we cut on the pull. The first few cuts are the hardest because you're trying to get a line. Yep. And you may find this easier if you put your thumb on the metal down here,
Okay.
because that gives you this constant flat.
All right.
You have a reference point.
And I am almost through. There we go. Look at that. My chunk of acetate out of there. Hit that and show you what we're at. Okay. And when we say a rough cut, that's pretty darn rough, but hey, you can kind of see where we're going with this. All right, next step is going to put this back together and start cutting the outside of this. And I'm sure once you've mastered this, you can probably get a whole lot closer than I am. I'm running probably about 3 millimeters off the edge of my tracing, so I don't want to have this saw wander in and mess up my shape. All right, we've got our two shapes. So we have our chassis, if you will, kind of roughed out. From here, it is file, file, file. So we're going to talk a little bit about your file choices, and we're going to start kind of roughing these in using those.
Yeah, so most of my tools, really it was files I had. I picked up a few. It basically breaks into two groups. You have kind of a finishing file here. I rarely use these. I've found that sandpaper just works much better. This one's a little more rough, and obviously we get more rough out here and larger. And then on the far side, I have smaller hand tools, smaller hand files. Again, I found one of my favorite files. It's a little half round, but it's very rough.
Yeah.
I use that one. I have some circular ones and such. The deburring tool, the file brush. This is really soft material.
Yeah.
So they're going to clog up the files pretty quickly. You can see there's already remnants on this one from the last time I was using it. So you would just simply drag it across to clear out the debris. You're going to find you're doing that a lot.
Some of these things you can't just pick up at the hardware store like Lowe's for, like pennies on the dollar. And then there are truly specialty items like these that are specific to frame design and jewelry. So just make sure you shop around a little bit and double check everything before you jump in, so to speak.
A vise that you could manipulate and change its angles is nice.
Okay.
Okay.
I just happen to have one of those, in fact.
That works.
Look at that.
There you go.
Hey.
All right. And I would with your file, I'd be coming in, just coming in, making these nice, long cuts. And you're going to find the more support you have, the happier you're going to be.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to push through, file, file, file.
Yeah.
Let's move. Bit more filing, keep moving.
All right.
What's that cheap?
Okay.
We're just using electricity.
That's
We're not Amish.
That's not a bad idea. All right, let's do that. Kevin was working for almost 45 minutes roughing this out. You can just begin to imagine how long that would take if you were actually doing this really by hand using nothing but files. Just hand shape a little bit more before we do the next step, which is?
We're going to want to set the bevel slightly off the front, obviously. We have to allow some material for strength. Okay. And then it's just height. So it's, you need a special piece. I'm going to grab my table.
Please bring that up. I can get this.
And so what we got to do, I'm going to borrow your frame for a second.
Sure.
So here's our back. This is our front. We're going to lay it down. What you want to do is we know where the blade is.
Yeah.
We have an idea where it is. The beauty of this, we don't really have to work that hard. I'm just going to turn the blade by hand just slightly, just so I get a point out.
And scribe.
And I'm just going to make a little scribe.
Yep.
And now if I look at it, my scribe line is right here.
Okay, and I personally go up a 0.5 millimeter.
You know, we're just going to make this easier. Here we go.
Yep.
My scribe line's right about in here. And you'll notice we've dropped down just slightly.
Yep.
Okay.
But
we're going to have some depth on the bit. That's pretty good.
I like that.
Yeah. Bit is moving clockwise. We're moving counterclockwise.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have to move like this. It's bad. Don't try to do it all in one take.
Okay. So it's better to let it slowly.
Take a shallow cut. Go back. Do another one.
Okay, we have our bevel in place. And next is to kind of do what we call the relief cut. Is that it?
We're going to relieve material from the back surface. You're going to, it's a bowl shape on both sides. Okay, so both lenses have a little bit of a bowl shape to them. A little bowl shape right in the middle of the bridge. Okay, and that's it.
Once you do one, I'll do the other.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
So here, I'll do this side. So I'm just going to come in. Yeah, so we're trying to relieve this material because we're going to put a lens in here. The lens has a curve, and the frame is going to adopt that curve. Whatever curve you put into it, it's going to take. In this case, probably a 4-base lens or something like that. So if we had all this material sitting back there, it would make it difficult for the frame to adopt that curve. So you can see it's a little thinner. We could actually even go more.
Yeah.
A little thinner on this side, a little uneven.
Yeah.
But nothing a smaller file.
Right.
Get in here, or even this larger one, you can get in here and just clean that up. You're not married to always having it down. That's the key to remember this. You can hold it in your hand, look at it, make the adjustments you need to. But that's your general. That's the general gist.
Okay.
Also, with this piece, since we're not adding nose pads to this,
Right.
having this little lift up is going to mimic the concept of a nose piece.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm going to do while we're here, okay? Obviously, if you look at your frame,
Yeah.
the bridge rounds back like this, okay?
Right.
This is an opportune moment.
Okay.
Okay, we're here. We have this edge. We have the bench made up. I'm just going to set it up. There is no set angle for this. I just, I've gotten a habit of just pinching it and leaning it back, and I kind of eyeball it, and I come in with my.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just going to.
Perfect. It's starting to look like my nose.
This is when it gets exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because we went from just some chunk of plastic now, to an optician. You go, well, that's kind of like a frame.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna go to sanding. Really, is all we're gonna do next.
Okay.
Depending upon how far we want to go, you can go all the way to wet sanding. Okay. When I'm doing pieces, okay, and because I have time, and because I'm making one, I dry sand to a point, and then I will go back and wet sand because I'm looking for a texture. I'm looking for that perfectly smooth piece. You could stop at 600 and then just spend more time on a buffing wheel.
Right. That was my question. Where does buffing take over from this? I mean, 1,000 roughly.
Really, 600.
600.
Most people will stop at 6.
Okay.
I'm compulsive, so I run this thing further out. Mainly because I don't like spending a whole lot of time buffing.
Buffing. Okay.
And it's just preference.
All right. Time to do some sanding. All right, I have been toiling away for quite a while now. I've gone from 120 to 240 to 320, and now I have, what do I have? I've got some 600 in my hand, and I'm just about finishing up my 600 sanding. I didn't go the wet route. What's our next step?
We're going to fast forward this.
Oh,
there's a little
okay.
trick I learned along the way
All right.
to make life easier for you. This is a ceramic deburring knife. You can rub your finger on it. It won't cut yourself, right? But you can use it on a frame. So we've been working on this edge. We haven't really been working on this edge. And you can see these lines that are in here. Okay.
And is that from the acetate being built up as it's made?
This is from us cutting
from
it. From us,
gotcha.
With the Dremel
Right.
and whatnot.
Right.
So what we're going to do, I'm just going to take this. And all I'm going to do is use
wow.
this. In a few swipes, you can knock this thing down, so it's relatively smooth. You can fast forward yourself.
Yep.
When you get over to the 600s, you can really get into it, and you can start to really draw out almost finished surfaces as you're going across. Like if I'm looking at this, I'm seeing little scratches right in here. Well, I can come in here with this. On this long edge, this is really what it shines, because it'll quite happily just knock that down, and you can just see that leaves this nice beveled edge.
Oh. All right, as we keep saying, you could just keep doing this all day long, quite literally. What is our next step, Kevin?
Now I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna take a little license, if I may.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna design your temple right on the fly. I'm gonna come down. This will be the back. We're gonna come up. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna.
A little. Oh, that's nice.
I'm gonna come up with a curve. We're gonna come back down. Let's round this. Let's round that. Just a simple curve.
Look at that.
So we have someplace for your ear. Yours are 145. Let's just double check ourselves. I'm going to take 5 off. That'll be...
All right, we have now a right and a left temple. I can't say how incredibly addictive this is. Once you start picking up the file and the sandpaper and looking at your shape and feeling the way the frame is coming out. You really just kind of can't stop. You just kind of want to keep filing and feeling and sanding, but obviously we have to stop somewhere, so we are going to do that. Now it is time to take our temples that Kevin just made from scratch, which is really kind of amazing, and we need to put hinges on these. So how do we go about putting some hinges onto first the temples, I guess, and then the frame?
Yeah, let's do temples first. I think
All
it'll
right.
be easier.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna make a mark at 5. And this is where, okay. So if you look,
Yeah.
I'm looking at that front pin, and that's about right where we want it.
Yeah.
This line is running right down the middle of our hinge.
Sure is.
So I'm happy
Perfect.
with that.
Absolutely beautiful.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take care of, if you'll just hold on to the temple for me. Perfect. I am gonna try to do this without moving it. Dink. There we are.
All right. You can feel it drop into the.
You can feel it
Yep.
drop in the hole. Okay.
Yeah. Magnets. Magnet. That's
All right. And I think we should have a nice little imprint.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Let's drill that.
Actually, if you want to hold the
Yes, I will.
temple, it helps me keep things.
Next thing we're going to do is we have clippers. What you want to do, you want to leave about half a millimeter, and you have to eyeball this. Proud, and then we're going to show you how you're going to round it down.
Okay.
Go through it. Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have
All right.
clavos. Okay, we're going to start off with we have these anvils. We have anvils that have holes in them. We have anvils that are plastic.
Oh,
We have an anvil
okay.
that has a slot through it. Okay, the ones with holes in the slot are for removing pins.
Okay.
Okay, this is for soft setting a pin.
Right.
We want this piece. We're going to set it in, screw it down. You have all these bits going around, and if you'll notice, there's only really one meant for punching.
Okay.
Okay, this bit you'll notice has a little T in it,
Yeah.
and that T would fit right between those two pins.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to use this to help set this plate.
Gotcha.
Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to put this up here, we're gonna lightly, just finger tight. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to lay this up here, set it up, okay, and we want to line this up between those pins,
Yep.
okay. Now I'm going to press down, okay. Don't try to press the china with this thing.
Right.
It's a light press.
Yeah.
Okay.
Soft material, light press. Yeah.
And I've just done that.
Nice.
Now
Oh,
your
look at
pin is set.
So that's good. Yep. Oh, yeah. All
Good.
right.
All right. We can use the clavulus to do this. There's an awful lot of torque on this. Okay. I personally tend not to use it for doing this.
Oh, all
I use it
right.
for this one feature, and it's great for that.
Okay.
But I have bent more pins than I've set.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to set this aside.
Good enough.
Okay. But we want a part of it.
Aha.
What we want, there are two pieces to this. One is larger than the other. Okay. For us, we want the smaller, and it's basically a concave tool. Okay. And this is how we do it. We're going to take this. We're going to take our tool. We're going to set it up on top. Now, I'm going to let you do this. I'm not going to do this. Okay. But I'm going to show. Let me show you first what we're going to do. We're going to hold it like this, but we're going to round like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What we're trying to do is get a nice mushroom. So it's a couple taps straight down and then boom, 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 boom,
right.
like this.
Gotcha.
All right. So I'm going to trade you. You take
All right.
that.
Yep.
I'm holding that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You
Okay.
see?
Yep.
Gets a nice little mushroom.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
And now we simply repeat that one more time. You're there. You have
There we go.
a set hinge. It's nice. It's firm.
It-
Okay. You have a nice mushroom. Okay. The other side is set.
Okay.
Okay, so I've put the front placard on. I'm just lining it up. If you wanted to, you could easily put a screw in here right now.
Yeah, might or
I don't.
drop our pin in there if it
drop your
goes
pin.
through there. It sure does.
Sure does. So
There
now we have
go.
another reference.
Yep.
Okay, so all we're going to do, from our design, we have this outside line. We know that that's basically where we want to end.
Right.
Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take my earpiece, I'm going to set it down on the piece. I'm going to bring it out, I'm going to line it up with that line.
Right.
Okay?
And we've got two hands here. We
I'm
don't
gonna
always,
hold it.
of course. We have got a frame ready for some temples. So I guess it's time to install those. All right, so what's the next
great.
step?
So next thing we got to do, we I think we talked previously about the cut on the outside of a frame. So the outside of a frame is not parallel to the front. The outside
Right.
edges are actually have a slight cant out, which kind of opens them up, and just gives a better cosmetic piece.
Okay.
So what we want to do, and you can see it here, what we want to do is we want to get the biggest rasp we have. In this case, I'm going to say we want one with a flat edge. So I'm going to say it's going to be this one. This one I've usually used for this. We're going to come up here. We're going to use this as our straight line. I'm going to hang this over. So all I have to do is take the file. You know what?
Gonna use the
I'm going to even
coarser one?
more coarse. Yeah. And you'll see almost immediately. You see how I'm cutting this angle? And what I'm doing is that I'm trying to line up the file with the temple.
Okay.
Okay? There you go. And this is what you're looking for. You're looking for that marriage.
Oh, yeah.
That just, it comes up,
Yeah.
you run your finger across it, you don't feel that marriage. And now at that point, we're
some
ready.
polish. Yeah.
We're gonna go to polish.
I think we have two temples. We've got our frame front. We've got our hinges in place. We know everything fits together nicely now. We are really in the home stretch here. And let me tell you guys, it has been a rather long day. So rather than hand polishing everything, we're going to use a little bit of a shortcut. We are going to fill a tray with acetone.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna let me show you the front how this works is not that long.
Okay.
Okay. So we have fishing wire just to hold on to. It's in. Give it a nice soak. It's about 10 seconds.
All right.
And so it wants to drip. And I'm just gonna kind of give it a chance to stop moving. And I'm watching the surface of this, and I can see on the surface that it's starting to dry out. And that's it. And I'm just gonna set it up here.
Drying
And then
rack.
we'll dry.
Very nice. I'll get to putting those together in just a minute and give you a little bit of a fashion show you how wonderful those turned out. Kevin, thank you so much for coming down
Thanks for
to
having me.
visit us and putting on this workshop. If you'd like to learn more about Kevin, by all means, hit his website, counteyewear.com. If you're in Chicago, stop by and say hello. I will see you again next week. These are the results from a solid 8 hours of work. Is this frame perfect? Heck no, far from it. But you know what? it ain't bad for a first attempt. And of course, there is nothing stopping me from spending another 8 hours on it either. I can't stress enough that creating a frame 100% from scratch takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, practice, and a few specialty tools. But if you have an artistic side and optician skills, I really can't think of a more rewarding and quite possibly profitable way of expressing yourself.